Awesome. I'm so excited for another week with One Starfish. Our mission is to help change one life at a time and just try to bring people on here with value. And I'm excited for today because this is a really good friend of mine. I lived with them for a month in Arizona, so they're really good friends. They tolerated me for a while, which is really cool. And Karen Stanley and her husband, John, they're just an amazing couple. But Karen is who we get to talk to today. And she's an author, she's a coach, she's a mom, she's a wife. And her mission is to help women attract the right partner, the dream right partner. I mean, who doesn't want that? I mean, that's on my vision board for sure, and something that I'm working towards. So I've learned a lot from this lady, and I'm really excited to have her on the podcast. Also, make sure to check the show notes. Of course, I'll have links to her website or Instagram, all of that kind of stuff. Feel free to reach out to her. So thank you so much for being on this podcast today, Karen. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit, or tell the audience, I guess I know a little bit of this, but tell the audience a little bit about your story, how you came from, where you came from, what started you on this journey to attract your dream partner. You can tell a little bit about your love story, because I think it's awesome, of how you and John have met and are together, and just go into stuff like that if you could.
Heck yeah. Well, I was a single mom for a million years, and it felt like a million. Divorce is extremely traumatic and not something anybody ever wants to go through. A lot of us do, unfortunately. And, raising two kids alone was very challenging and very special and very rewarding. I mean, it was basically the three of us all the time. Thank goodness my mom moved here to help me. My little sister was here. She lived with us for a couple of those years. And so I had an army, as it takes an army to raise a child. I definitely was so blessed to have an army. And I really struggled with dating. I'd go on some dates. I'd like someone or date them for like a month or two. And then I always ended up being disappointed and just so frustrated, and like, just forget it. And I wouldn't date for 2 years and be like, I'll just wait till my kids are older. How is it possible to have a relationship and raise two children? Their father was out of town almost all the time. He was in the mining business. And he's like, I mean, out of town, Asia for like a 3-year stint. And he'd come back every 90 days. And so it was really hard on the kids. And I thought, I'm just going to put that on hold. I keep getting disappointed. Marriage is the worst. I'm damaged goods. Who's going to want to marry me with, 2 kids and, big butt and a divorce and all these things, right? Now big butts are in, but they were not in the 90s. But that's my point, though. As we go along, we all develop beliefs about everything. Every single thing that happens creates more and more beliefs about a certain thing in a certain way. And so when it comes to relationships, I guess I just got so tired of one disappointment or one failure after another, or just being so frustrated. And I thought, what is the common denominator in all of my relationships? I just don't believe that we are meant to be single. We are not solitary creatures. And if 2020 didn't teach us that, I don't know what else will. And I just decided to not worry about all of the men and how am I going to find somebody, and are there any good ones out there? I didn't think there really was. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I am going to work on myself. I knew I needed to change my beliefs about men and relationships for me to change the type of person I was attracting. And so I just went on a mission. I focused on the specific goals, my health, my family, my finances. I had a ton of debt from just back taxes I didn't pay for a few years when I first started as a 1099, what is it called? Self-employed. For several years, I messed all that up and didn't pay the quarterly stuff and whatever. I was a train wreck. But I was also, left a job for 12 years and went to work for somebody else. And I was self-employed now, working from home. I needed that money.
Yeah.
People are like, that doesn't make me a criminal to have a load of debt. And just that statement, people believe that they're not worthy or they're not good enough. They might not say it or realize it, but I have debt. Nobody's going to want to be with me. I am not worthy, because who's going to want to come into a relationship with a person who's in the negative? Could be anything. I don't have the perfect body. I don't have a lot of savings. I don't have a nice house. I don't own my own home. I was renting at the time. All of these things make us feel that we're doomed. And then when we don't feel worthy of an amazing, wonderful partner, that's who we're going to attract. People who feel the same way about themselves. They might not ever say it. They cover it up with their, fancy cars and their fancy clothes, and, take you out, spend lots of money on you. And deep down inside, they really don't have self-love and self-worth and self-confidence. And so you'll just keep attracting the same basic types of people over and over and over again. So it really has to do with the internal work. And once I really, really worked on that, and specific goals, I started to change my beliefs. I started to change the way I felt. I felt as if I was getting one step closer to my dream partner every day, or not. If I was doing something that wasn't making me proud of myself, like if I decided to go to a bar and get drunk, that doesn't make me feel good about myself. That takes me backwards, back into the belief, oh, no, I blew it. I'm really not that great of a person. Amazing, great people, don't have too much to drink. Then you're going backwards. I said, all right, well, that was yesterday. How about today? What can I do today to take me back onto that path where I believe it, I deserve it, he's on his way, someone out there is manifesting me. And that's really, it's just a daily, minute by minute, trying to stay on that track, fall off, get back on the path, fall off, like we do with everything. And then I was the day after Thanksgiving, we have a big, huge sale, Black Friday. Everybody has a Black Friday. I do marketing for car dealers. Walk into see my client the day after. So I always come in on the Saturday after. I say, hey, I see how the sale went, pick up their materials, their logs, and looked around, was trying to find my client, John Stanley. You already know where the story ends.
This is going. Yeah.
Couldn't find him, walked around again. Anyone seen John? Yeah, he's around here somewhere, did another loop. And he jumped up when he saw me, and he's such a gentleman. He always did that. Hey, sit down. How you doing? We sat down and we just chit-chatted about this, and his skin was peeling. He's like, sorry about my skin. I did like this chemical peel. I'm like, ooh, I want to do that. Can I have the name of your person? Because I'm about to be 40. I really want to take care of my skin and do one of those things. And we're talking about water, alkaline water, greens, diet, and then we started talking about dating. Yeah, gosh, I dated a little bit, people are always trying to set me up. And he goes, I never really was interested in anybody. Like, I didn't really want to get married again. I mean, he was out of a 25-year marriage, and he just wanted someone to do things with, go on bike rides, go to a movie, go on a hike. I was like, I get it. He said, but then I went to Thanksgiving, and I went with 2 families. It was like 30 people, 3 generations, love, family. They're so close knit. They're having contests with their turkeys. Everybody, there was so much love there. And I got in my truck and to go home, and he said, God, I'm ready to fall in love. Isn't that weird? I can't even say that statement without crying 7 years later.
Cool. I love that. It is.
And I said, John, you should. This is my friend and client at the time. I've never talked to him for more than 5 minutes, ever, because it was a group. It wasn't a one-on-one client. I was doing the advertising for the whole Autoplex. So we would have board meetings with, 9 other people in the room. So I obviously talked to him, but I never had a conversation, especially not for an hour. And on the busiest day of the year, in the middle of the dealership where there's 150 people walking around. And I said, you should be loved. You should have a partner if that's what you want. You should have love. Everybody should have love. And he said, well, you did. I said, no, I didn't. He thought I had a boyfriend at the time. I was seeing somebody, but I said, no, we broke up last summer. Oh, well, what happened? I said, well, he was way too young for me. I said, I don't know what I was thinking. He goes, well, how old was he? I was like 32 or 33. And I'm like, I'm almost 40. He's like, oh, well, what is your age range? I'm like, like your age. I've always been attracted to older men. I don't know why I even tried dating somebody younger. I know why now. You'll know why the lessons are as soon as once you look back and you go through them. I know exactly why I met him. And it was such a little light bulb, moment. He wasn't really thinking of me. I wasn't really thinking of him. I never thought that we were a match at all. I'm really not his type. He's not my type at all. And my type has always been big refrigerator, linebackers, because I had the belief that I was big. I'm 5'10". I weigh 100.
By the way, guys, so
pounds.
you guys, if you're listening to the podcast, you're not on YouTube, Karen is absolutely beautiful. And this is a very mistaken belief. And this isn't just as a friend. This is like true. She's absolutely gorgeous. Make sure you check her out on Instagram. Anyway, go on.
Thank you. And when you have those beliefs, I'm glad you said that. And I really appreciate that. When you have those beliefs, it doesn't matter how many compliments you get. It doesn't matter. I believe, if you believe, I'm big and I weigh too much, then it doesn't matter. It's all about the internal work. What do you need to do to feel beautiful, and do it? And I'm not talking about plastic surgery. No.
No, internal.
No, internal. So he walked me out to my car, and I always tell people, it's as if I walked in that day and he saw me differently. And the reason is I was a different person. I had been working really hard. When you work you do the inner work, the external work, you focus on what really matters to you. You put the time and intention into what you really want to create in your life. You will be a different person. I'm not the same as I was 18 months ago. And it was like I was a stranger to him. And 2 days later, he sent me a text. Hey, like he's never texted me before, ever. The next day he said, hey, thanks. We had a great weekend, like the best November, great sales. And thanks so much for your help, which, by the way, car dealers never do.
No.
Never. If they have a great weekend and their salespeople were amazing. If they have a terrible weekend, their marketing is the problem, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's great. Never had somebody actually say thank you for what I did to help him in his, business. Okay, maybe not never. I've been in this business for a long time, but it's very few and far between. And then came the ask. Sends you this text message. If you can't see me, it's about 4 inches long of text with the 97 ways to say no. I don't know if you can get a babysitter, if you like football, if you have to wash your hair, if you're free, if you're available, if you have other plans, if you don't do things on Sundays. I mean, it was hilarious, literally hilarious. But I have 2 tickets to the Cardinals game on Sunday. Would you like to come with me? So I'm freaking out because he's a client. So I automatically text my business partner. Oh my gosh, John Stanley asked me out. What do I do? He's like, go. He's a gentleman. Even if it doesn't work out and you guys are friends, nothing. He won't ever jeopardize our business. He doesn't roll that way. I said, yeah, I knew that. That's why I liked him so much. He was just such a kind, gentle man. And I said, okay, yes, I'd love to go. And okay, great. And I also have tickets to Fleetwood Mac 2 days later.
Well, he's on a roll. He might as well stay on a roll. It's on the yes train.
I don't know if you like classical music. I mean, classic rock. I don't know if you like Fleetwood Mac, if you have any plans. I mean, I love this. There's 2 things I want to point out when I'm coaching women. If he's not filling up your schedule, then he's not the one. The person that wants to be with you wants to be with you. There's no games. There's no 3-day rules. There's no rules at all. He doesn't even know the rules. He knew that he had time off. When he had some free time, he wanted to spend that time with me. And he said, even if we end up being friends, like we haven't even had our first date yet. We still liked each other very much. You don't have to marry everybody you date, right? It's like you enjoy each other's company and then you go from there. And he knew he wanted to spend his time with me. And then also, if you have a certain type and you only look for a certain type of person, just ask yourself, how's that working out for you? That type of person was not working out for me at all, at all. And a lot of us get really caught up on specific physical attributes that you think you must have. And just ask yourself, if you're single and you want to attract your dream partner, everything that you have done in the past, how's it working out? What have you learned? Does it really have to be somebody who outweighs you by 100 pounds? Right? I weigh more than my husband. He is 6'2" and 160, sometimes 165 pounds. He's skinny. There's no other way around it. He's skinny. He's always been skinny. He'll never be not skinny. Yep. He works out every day. He eats a clean diet. He's in great shape and he doesn't gain weight. It's not possible. His goal is to gain 10 pounds of muscle this year. That was the same goal as last year.
Well, hopefully he gets it for his sake.
Hey, if he wants to. Yeah, I mean, he's in incredible health. So, I mean, whatever. Does he have to be 10 more pounds of muscle? I don't think so. I mean, he can if he want to be. So that's really important, those two things. We, talked to each other every single night until we fell asleep and until that Sunday came, because this was a Tuesday. So we had like 5-6 days until our first date. And it was an amazing thing. We were already in love by the time we even got there. I even pulled up to his house. He gave me directions to his house and I come around the corner and he's standing on the sidewalk all the way around the corner from his house, just in case he didn't want me to miss the turn. He's just so conscientious and he loves taking care of people and just wanted to make sure that I didn't pass the street. And so I go, then I let him in the car and I've got junk in the front seat, throw the purse and the box and the whatever I had. My kids were 9 and 11. So anybody with kids, you know what your car looks like. Yeah. You don't get a clean car until your youngest is about 16 right now. It's the only time it's clean.
Yeah, you have a clean car now.
Yeah. Just doesn't happen. Yeah. Our first kiss was at the football game and everybody said, can you just wait till at least they score a touchdown? I was like, nah, I've been waiting for him my whole life. And also, all of our beliefs about, age, type, income, you just work really hard on yourself. All you really have to do is to work on yourself. I get people asking me all the time, but what are we going to do about the men? What's wrong with men out there? What is wrong with them? And I go, we're not going to do anything about the men because we're just going to work on ourselves. What do you need to do to believe that you deserve it? What do you need to do to believe that real love is out there, that someone out there is manifesting you, and there is somebody who wants someone who is exactly like you as you're working on improving and enjoying and working on your goals. And then the person will find you. And because that happened to me, and then we were married a year later, we just took our kids to Maui. Just each of us have 2 kids. We just flew to Maui and got married on the beach, which was always my dream. And a couple of years later, I was hiking. We were hiking. And one of the things that is one of the strategies is visualizing everything you want to do with your partner and do those things now. And while I was single and manifesting John, I hiked all the time. It's one of my favorite thing to do. It brings me joy, brings me exercise, brings me vitamin D, sunshine, all of the things. I really like things that are all of the things all in one. And I'm out in nature and it's totally my jam. It's not everybody's jam. So pick your jam, whatever your jam is, and do it. And visualize doing that with your partner. And I did that so many times. And we were out in a mountain like we did all the times. It didn't really occur to me until that day. And I'm like, wow, I did this so many times. I visualized my partner next to me, loving the same things that I love to do, side by side, hand in hand, listening to the same music, or we listen to books, mostly audiobooks. He has one AirPod, I've got the other, so we can read the same book at the same time. And I said, I feel like the things that I had really worked on for that year and a half, the year and a half working up to before we got together, I really feel like it's a strategy. because this is one of them. And then I started going through the other things that I really worked on, the specific things that I worked on and the things that I did and focused on, and what really helped me believe that it was possible, believe that I was worthy, believe that marriage is a good thing. I was meant for me. I didn't have to wait until I was 18. My butt didn't need to be smaller. And he goes, you should write a book. And I was like, well, I never considered writing a book before. I thought I'd probably write a book about my crazy childhood because I have 10 brothers and sisters. And I am going to, because you won't believe any of that. It was awesome in the craziest way. If you don't have a big family, you have no concept of what having 13 people in your house. There's always 40 people in our house at all times. They're always babysitting and piano. It was nuts. I am going to write that book. But I never considered writing a book about strategies, but I really wanted to help other women. I wanted to, kind of figure out systematically, kind of go through what exactly helped me the most and then share it. And I feel like when we have these experiences and we have things that we find things that really help us so much, we're doing a disservice if we don't share it. We're just, even if just one thing in that book helps somebody, even if that just one page, one word, one quote, anything, one story, it can help someone go, I am not alone. I am not the only one who feels like this. I want that. And I can now believe that it's possible, because if it can happen for Karen, it can happen for anybody. That's really all I care about. That's all I want. And that's why I read it. And it's a very crazy process, actually, writing a book. The part that nobody talks about is how scary it is to publish it. Like, I can write on my computer all day long. I love writing. I love blogging. I write for a living. I write ad copy. I write blogs. I write content all day long. I never wrote a novel. It's not a novel. I never wrote a book before. And then you go, oh, I don't want to publish this. People are going to read it. They're going to criticize it. They're going to judge it. They're like, ugh, that sucks. And so it was an incredible experience to actually do that and put that out there and for the world to judge. And you got to get to the point where, you know what, it's not going to help anybody. Just if you judge it, great. If you hate it, great. It's okay. It really doesn't matter if it helps one person. And that's all, so. And we're about to have our 7th anniversary.
So cool. Guys, if you haven't read the book, and this, obviously Karen's talking to women, I guess, in a way, but, it goes both ways. I have a lot of friends that are obviously guys and single too, and it goes both ways. What type are you looking for? And maybe start to change that. And who are you becoming to attract that person into your life? Whether you're a male, whether you're a female, it doesn't matter. It goes both ways. And the book is absolutely incredible. I read it, made me get some new furniture and change my world and all kinds of stuff. So it's a really good book to read, and it's really interesting. So it's a good book, lots of things to do, and it's interesting. And I know Karen posts lots of good stuff on her Instagram. Like I said, she's got a website. There's a bunch of stuff on there. So, if you want to dig more into it, like really go through some of this stuff, because it is absolutely gold, and it helped Karen find John. And John, I've met him too, of course, and maybe we'll get him on the podcast yet too, because he's got a crazy, incredible story also. And just together, I mean, they're an amazing couple. It's not BS. They're actually like in love. Like I said, I lived with them for a month, and I saw the good, the bad, the ugly. And it's really neat to see, like, a real relationship that actually works, kind of a modern day Cinderella. But, that's like the fantasy story. This is like the reality story, and it's way better in reality than it is in fantasy. And so, make sure that you're, like I said, checking things out and following Karen and learning more about kind of what she's learned and what she's done and who she is. And you'll get a lot of value from that.
Thank you.
I have, before we wrap up, is there something you want to finally share? And then we're going to wrap up with 3 final questions.
Oh, I was just going to add to that, and I appreciate that. And it's really important it's not Cinderella. You don't go off into the sunset. It's
no glass slipper.
Yeah. So forget every Disney movie you've ever read. We've had so many challenges and thrown at us, legal challenges from, work challenges. He got squeezed out of his job of 18 years. finding new, a job, work for him with a 1-year non-compete where he couldn't work in the same city. We thought we were going to have to move. We were applying for all kinds of jobs everywhere. We did not want to move. And health problems. He was in the hospital 3 times. And what I didn't know, and you can't know, and I love to share with people, you can't know until you've had a real partner in every sense of the way, is that having that partner is, trying to think of the right word, really takes you and your capacity and your ability to love and grow and take on challenges. It multiplies it by 10. It's not times 2. I love that Multiply Life by the Power of 2. It's an Indigo Girls song from a billion years ago. And I always listened to that, thought I really want that. But what it really is, it's times 100. The things that you can accomplish with someone who's your constant cheerleader and supporter and negotiator. And he's my person. My person drives me nuts sometimes. And I drive him completely batshit sometimes. That's life. And we help each other go through these challenges. And when I'm not really feeling it, he steps in and he kind of takes the control. Now, when he's not feeling good, I step in and you fill each other's holes. We got holes every day. We're not feeling good. We're struggling with something. And then you have that. I never had a partnership in the actual true meaning of the word. And I really want to communicate that. That's the whole reason why I started the Instagram, and I share things that I've learned, share about our relationship. So you don't think it's just, Cinderella fairy tale land. Mm-hmm. It's not, but it is amazing. I am full, and I wasn't half a person without John. You're already a full, amazing, wonderful person, but you have that, that person, that support, that whole, it's like that support underneath. It's almost like a foundation. You're on it. You're taking care of it. You can do a lot of things on your own and you're great. And that having that dream partner is so fulfilling, and it takes your life to a whole new level. You never even imagine. Things that I couldn't visualize because I'd never experienced before. I had no idea were actually possible. And it's not just, I wrote a book and I wouldn't have if I hadn't met John. That's absolutely true. It happens to be the subject of attracting a dream mate. So people go, well, duh. Also, I started my own business. I started a blog. There's so many things that have changed. I have changed in the last 7 years. I'm also not the same person as I was 7 years ago when we met.
Right.
So I truly believe that there's a person out there for everybody. And I truly believe that it's the biggest blessing in your entire life. And just striving through that every day is the blessing. It is the journey is the blessing, is working on yourself and feeling good about yourself and doing the work.
That's awesome. I love that. And for those of you who are in good relationships, keep working on yourself. This isn't just for single people. So, keep working on yourself, of course, and becoming a better person in your relationship. So 3 final questions before we wrap up. If you have someone, we have a lot of people on here that are going to be, looking for something or looking for their purpose. What is one sentence, if you meet someone that's looking for their purpose in life, what is one sentence that you would say that could help them?
Well, I'm going to steal Kurt Blackson's. He's the reason why I started on this journey. In addition to my husband, said, think about if there is a group of people or a group of something. Sometimes really people are really drawn towards something. Mm-hmm. Could be animals. Could be the ocean, the environment, children, adopted children, fostered children. What jumps out at you? And because we're all naturally drawn to a certain group. Mm-hmm. And I immediately said single moms. It just jumped into my brain. And so I would ask yourself that, what jumps into your brain? and figure out what that means. How can you serve them? What could you do to contribute and to serve?
That's awesome.
And I think that starts you on the right path. And then you'll find out from there.
Figure out that's a good one. All right. Second question. What is your favorite quote and why?
It's excellent. Actually, most people don't know who actually said it. A lot of people credit it to Aristotle. Some say it's Plato. And then when I put it in my journal, the editor found someone else who it was credited to. But, oh, come on, brain. Now I'm going to forget it. You're going to have to come back to this for a second.
Okay. Sounds
excellence. Good. It's seriously.
All right. We'll come back at while you're looking for this. This is probably even a deeper question. Number 3, what is one word or sentence that you want on your gravestone?
Love. I want to make sure that I left this world loving, being loving, loving my people around me, leaving this world with more love than it came in. I think that's the most important thing.
That's so awesome. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, all of those things. Like our mission is, like I said, to change one life at a time, to help one starfish or one life. And Karen said the same thing. If her book helps one person, that's her goal. And that's our mission on this podcast, is to help one person. So if one person hears this today, share it with someone that you think might value some of this information. And then make sure to tag us on Instagram, of course, and we'll share your post also. Did you find your quote?
Yes.
Okay. What is it?
Sorry, I just totally had just a brain fart. Okay. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is a habit.
I love it.
That's my favorite quote of all time. It's just a habit. We are our habits.
That's awesome. So who are you going to repeatedly become, and what are you going to repeatedly do? And thank you guys for listening and being supportive. And thank you, Karen, so much for your time. I know a lot of people get a lot of value from this.
Thank you, Angela.